You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is July 8th, 2024 meeting of the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Mike. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to open our meeting for the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission. Monday, July 8th, it is 5 p.m. in Michigan City, Indiana. The roll call, Mr. Gertner.
Here.
Clarence Hulse. He is absent this evening. Sheila Brosa Matias, I am here. Tracy Tillman is absent this evening. And Sherry Wilson. Here. And Mr. Domkowski.
Here.
All right, let's move on to approval of the minutes. We have two sets of minutes to approve this evening. The first one is for the executive session on the 10th of June, and the second one is for our regular meeting, June 10th, regular hybrid meeting. I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Good. We have a motion and a second to approve both sets of minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion has carried. Next, Skylar, will you present the claims for July 8th, 2024?
Absolutely. This is the claims docket for July 8th, 2024. We have payroll, June 2024, CDBG reimbursables, staff, and commissioners. From our operating account, we have Great America Financial for copier fees for 2024, Saranac Law Offices for legal retainer for June of 2024. From our North TIF, we had August MAC 2023 activities with Trail Creek Properties, Begley and Concord. Cleaners 42924 through 52624. Barnes and Thornburg for legal services, redevelopment and economic development matters ending in 53124. Barnes and Thornburg for legal services, Bloxham arbitration ending in 53124. Butler, Fairman, and Seifert for engineering services, Washington Park Boulevard streetscape 5124 through 53124. We had Global Engineering for constructions, inspections, administration for 2023-2 CCMG 42324 through 62324. Global Engineering for Franklin Street alignment of two-way plans 42324 through 62324. Global Engineering for CCMG 2024-1 2124 through 62324. Marcus Electric for Civic Plaza 7th and Franklin Electricity final pay. The Chicago Consultant Studio. This is consulting services for our 5th and Pond Street development. The Chicago Consultant Studio for consulting services for 5th and Pond development 3/1/24 through 3/31/24. The Chicago Consultant Studio for consulting services for 5th and Pine Development 4/1/24 through 4/30/24. The Chicago Consultant Studio for consulting services 5th Pine Development for 6/1/24 through 6/30/24. NIPSCO for electric services or EV charging stations at 8th Street lots as of 6/3/24. RK Tap House and Grill facade reimbursement number 1 for 124 West 4th Street, otherwise known as the Ritz Club. Saranac Law Offices for legal retainer for North TIF for June 2024. U.S. Bank for lease payment of the 2023 mixed-use transit bond. U.S. Bank for lease payment of 2019 or refunded Lafayette Barker bond. U.S. Bank for lease payment for 2021 refunded Elston Grove bond. Valuation services for appraisal for 40 parcels, Pine Street and Cedar. Wallach, Summers, and Haas for legal services for You Are Beautiful, SOLA, 5/6/24 through 5/29/24. South TIF, we had Aaron's Fence Solutions for the fence install of Myers Drive, final pay. Haas and Associates for South TIF connectivity improvements 3/25/24 through 6/16/24. Saranac Law Offices for legal services in the South TIF June of 2024. U.S. Bank for lease payment of 2018 Ohio Street bond. U.S. Bank for lease payment of the 2019 Double Track bond. East TIF, we had Haas and Associates for MC annexation sanitary extension 1/1/24 through 1/28 24. Haas and Associates for MC Annexation Sanitation Extension for 12924 through 3/3/24. Haas and Associates for MC Annexation Extension for 3/4/24 through 3/31/24. And then we had the mixed use transit construction, Flaherty and Collins, pay number 5.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on any of the items? Other than there was a tongue twister in there.
Yeah.
Chicago Consultant Studio. Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the claims as presented for July 8th, 2024.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Great. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have the financial report dated May 31st, 2024. Skylar?
This is the financial balance sheet for 5/31 through or as of 5/31/2024. And our cash, we have operating account, we have $124,816.72. In the South Side TIF account, we have $7,680,508.57. Southside TIF debt reserve account, we have $336,308.50. In the Southside TIF capital account, we have $16,199.79. In the North End TIF account, we have $3,882,935.76. In the East Side TIF, we have $476,597.43. In the Northeast TIF account, we have $897,601.13. Loans receivable, we have a county business loan for $133,333.00. And for a total assets of $13,548,300.90. Sorry, I got tied up there again.
Thank you. If there are no questions, I would entertain a motion to accept the document as presented for May 31st, 2024.
I'll make the motion to accept the income and expense report as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to accept the financial report dated May 31st, 2024 for the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have a request by Police Chief Marty Corley to utilize the Civic Plaza at 7th and Franklin on August 6th. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Madam President and Commission members. Marty Corley, Michigan City Police Department Chief of Police. I'm requesting you to utilize that property for our National Night Out event. It's August 6th, 2024, be from 5 to 8. We also have a pending approval for the street closure in between on 7th Street in between Franklin and Washington, pending your decision here tonight to let us use the lots. Also, all events will be free to the public, which we're providing that with community partner sponsorships. And we're hoping to have approximately 200 people attend. We'll have various vendors from throughout the community, like I said, community partners who are sponsoring, and then also other law enforcement entities that will be bringing their vehicles and their stands also to disseminate information. And we'll have several demos with assets from our department.
Thank you. Are there any questions or concerns? I would entertain a motion to approve the request to utilize for the Michigan City Police Department to utilize Civic Plaza on 8/6/2024 for National Night Out. Isn't that what it's called?
Yes.
Night Out.
I'll make the motion to allow the use of the plaza area.
I'll second.
Great. We have a motion and a second to approve the request of the Michigan City Police Department. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Next on our agenda, we have the facade grant request for reimbursement for Arcade Tap House and Grill, also known by all of us affectionately as the Ritz Club, 124 West 4th Street in Michigan City. Good evening.
Good evening, board. I've come in front of you guys a few times in terms of for this facade grant. So originally they applied and went in front of you guys, I think it was March the 11th meeting. And so now that they have completed the work, now they are requesting final approval in terms of the for the initial 15,000 of the total 30,000 for the facade program.
So this is the first pay of, so
Yes.
this is half of the 30.
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
And for anyone who's driven past it, it's looking really fine.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben.
I would entertain a motion to approve this request for $15,000 for facade renovation at the Ritz Club. You guys are doing a great
Don't
job.
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve this disbursement of $15,000 to RK Tap House and Grill. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion has carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have, you might want to explain this, rescinding the Riverboat liquor license for
Yeah.
Royale with cheese.
So there's two motions tonight, or two things that we need to do tonight, or that I would ask that we do tonight. One is that you may be aware that Royale with Cheese has chosen a different location, and they have moved out of the location where they were on Franklin Street. They moved to 9th Street. The commission had granted previously they had granted a liquor license at the location on Franklin Street. The liquor licenses that are granted are not they're not movable. They're actually geographically located. There's a couple rules with them. They're geographically located. One of the other rules is if their ownership changes, makeup, things like that, they have to change that as well. This is a geographic location issue, which means that they're basically moving to this new location. So what we would need to do is close out the liquor license at the location where it is right now. So we would need to write a letter to that effect, asking the state to do that. And then secondly, in a different motion, I would ask that we consider granting it at their new location, which I would also give the history of that. Frank, the owner, has basically followed all the rules, let us know, he actually requested the closing of the liquor license at its current location. I guess I can't say anything more. He's always been forthcoming and followed the rules. I don't think we've ever had any issues with him at the location when it was granted.
Thank you. Any questions for Skylar?
Menu's the same, maybe expanded, still doing burgers. So
The other thing that you need to keep in mind, or why we need to rescind this, is because you've already granted a liquor license to the new tenant of that location. So obviously we can't have two liquor licenses for the same place with two different vendors or two different establishments, so.
That sounds logical. So let's have a motion on the first action, number 8. Let's rescind the Riverboat liquor license for Royale with cheese for 827 Franklin Street. I would entertain a motion.
I will make the motion to rescind it for the past location.
Thank you.
And I'll second.
Great. We have a motion and a second to rescind the liquor license for Royale with cheese at 827 Franklin Street. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you. Next, we'll do the next reverse action. We're going to grant the Riverboat liquor license for FYE Hospitality doing business as Royale with Cheese at 110 West 9th Street. And I would entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve a new riverfront liquor license request for Royale with Cheese at their new location, 110 West 9th Street.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have a proposal for global engineering, the Franklin Street alignment, adjustment, and striping plans for 2024.
I'm gonna attempt to explain this, but we have Alan to jump in on this. You may recall we had a lengthy discussion about this last time. This is the same proposal as last time. Nothing's changed. It's just that we did not we took a vote, but we took a vote with no formal a first and a second. So
Right.
the vote is basically null and void without a first and a second.
So there are no changes.
There are no changes
Same
to it.
document,
It's
okay.
literally the same proposal,
Great.
same document.
Okay. I would entertain a motion. We had a very lengthy discussion and explanation and presentation at our last meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the proposal for global engineering.
I'll make the motion to approve the proposal as presented by Global.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Great. We have a proposal, we have a motion and a second on the proposal for global engineering. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you. That was some housekeeping. All right, next we have for discussion, the Elston Opportunity Hub.
I do believe we have Keela here with us tonight to give us a synopsis of what's happening.
Keela, if you could introduce yourself and
Absolutely.
your organization so everyone knows who you are and your expertise.
Thank you for being here.
All right. Good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm Keela Ward. I am the Director of Education and Workforce Development for the City of Michigan City. Excuse me. And I am a part of the collaborative that's leading the way for a new collaborative that we would love to see happen at the Elston High School building, Elston Middle School building. So, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank
All
you.
right. So we are looking at what's called an opportunity hub. And what that means in a nutshell is just a one-stop shop of services, and things that will help to address and overcome poverty, low education rates, people being underemployed in Michigan City, and really trying to upskill the residents to match the number of unique job openings in Michigan City. And also with the hub, we want to address food deserts and food insecurity. So those are key things that we're looking at addressing, and really we want to overcome in Michigan City. So with that being said, some of our key things that we are looking to do in that building, in the Elston building, is to come in with what we've done. We've asked several stakeholders in the community, for instance, HealthLink and Horizon Bank and Food Bank of Northwest Indiana and Goodwill and other organizations to come in and be an initial part of this as we grow the group of stakeholders that would be under one roof and helping to upskill and serve the community and address some of those glaring needs. So we know from the census tracts that Michigan City is about 41% poverty rate of economically distressed, and about 50% have no post-high school education. So those are things that we certainly want to address and can address with the upskill programs we could help to bring, help people that are in need of job training and of course jobs, and in the process may need childcare, may need a place that is close to their homes, a walkable place where they can come and maybe even get some health care. So we're looking at all those things being on the table and being under one roof. So we're excited as we began to put those things together, and also looking at what already exists in the Elston building, which is the Y, the Boys and Girls Club. There's programming there from the AK Smith side, the automotive. There's some programming that won't leave the Elston building, but there's lots and lots of space and opportunity to develop this very thing in that building. So we are definitely looking to support families by having a location that is walkable and not recreating something that already exists, which is maybe a regional resource that is not connected by local or public transportation, I should say. So what the hub would do would address nearly all of these needs, ideally under one roof. And we have already started that process. We being the Northwest Indiana Collaborative, and it includes the Center for Workforce Innovation, again, which includes Work One, again, the healthcare industry locally, which includes Health Link. So we have a lot of things on the table that we're trying to bring together. And so we are really excited to begin to move forward and to address these things. So joblessness, education, training, poverty, ultimately, poverty is the main thing. We're trying to pull the city up and help its residents to have a better quality of life.
I see Mayor coming in here right now. I do, and our understanding is that of the Redevelopment Commission being here tonight is that eventually there will be an ask of the Redevelopment Commission as we start stacking up capital to make our stand to encourage other investment. And with that, I'm gonna let Mayor take over. We're talking a little bit about what the ask would be eventually of the Redevelopment Commission would be a contribution ask eventually. This tonight is just kind of getting it out on the floor and letting people know what we're doing. I'll hand it off, Mayor.
If I could just mention, Keela did a really good job of trying to explain how this, the center would have something for everyone. There's lots of opportunity here to serve various segments and sectors of our community, around poverty, around children, around families. And I think that's something that can resonate with us.
Yeah, and this isn't a new concept. I think with partnering with organizations like CWI, Goodwill, the school system, adult skills education, early childhood, food insecurity, all those different things. I think, again, as we talk about workforce, this is really centered around workforce development and all the wraparound services to provide to the residents, but also creating that sense of community right there in the hub of Vibrant MC. We've gone through that process. We know we received community input. That was done, but we also know the poverty levels of the communities in Vibrant Michigan City, and that is really the east and west sides of town. And Elston is, first of all, a historical place in Michigan City and can become like the hub of everything that we need to get our families above the poverty level, make sure they have good paying jobs, we make sure they have the skill sets that they need with adult education. And I think also around healthcare, with the YMCA being there as an anchor, and working with them and making sure that we have all our healthcare providers and mental health organizations participating. I think it's just a good situation for Michigan City to be in, and also to leverage matching dollars. So when we come back, with the ask, I know we've been meeting with different funders, that this will be over the course of 3 years, that we'll be making the request. But the biggest thing is going forward into the future, this baseline amount of money that the city cobbles together will be the foundational piece of it. But moving into the future, it will be self-sustaining. And that is the key, is that this is not something that will be coming back every other year asking for money. It'll be a self-sustaining model. We're talking, this is a $20+ million project, where, for the life of us, and for the residents, this could be an opportunity for us to see prosperity for everybody in the city. So we just wanted to make sure we got that in front of you. I know we had City Council and Skylar at a meeting here recently just to kind of do that, and then trying to give you all the same information so that you can look through it, evaluate it. Anybody who has questions about it, I'm gonna give you the website so that the public can do their own research as well. If you go to nwiworks.org, if you visit the website, all this information is out on the website, and you click on Michigan City, and it has all the data and statistics and all the analysis that was done for the project. And I encourage the public to go look at it, so that you can see it for your own selves, but also know that we're talking, not just Michigan City and one organization. We're talking 10 organizations trying to come together to make this happen. And again, this was a part of a Ready 2.0 request. So we are really trying to leverage those dollars, but also get commitments so that we can go after national funds with the Kauffman Foundation and other foundations alike. So we just ask for your support into when we make the formal ask next month. Any questions
Any
for me?
questions?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kira.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for that presentation. Next on our agenda, we have an MOU to consider for 8th Street and Michigan Boulevard. Skylar?
Yeah, so this MOU is with Helix 33. We are currently we're working with a Ready 2.0 application with them. They are also working through what's known as the Build America Bureau. The Build America Bureau has put $100 billion into TOD, transit-oriented development, at a federal level, and basically said we're going to spend $100 billion in around rail, transit-oriented development, not just rail. It could be rubber tire trolleys, or I'm sorry, buses, bus systems, things like that. But honestly, the beauty of our situation is that we are actually still considered a rural community. We're below 50,000 people, so we actually tap. They're actually very interested in spending money in rural. I'll put that in. We don't consider ourselves rural, but we are considered rural by our definition of less than 50,000. So this company, Helix 33, is tapping into TIFIA funds, which is a low, very, very, very low interest loan to do development in within a half-mile radius of a train station, which we have a train station downtown now. So we're actually eligible for these funds. So Helix 33 is looking at the 8th Street lots, which we have put out before for RFP. We've been working through, you may recall the Richmond group had approached us and we had signed an MOU with them, but we have since gotten rid of that MOU formally, and we have not been able to, they were not able to get their financing together. Just wasn't the right timing. But with this new TIFIA loan, Helix 33 approached us with basically a similar project. And at this time, I would ask that they seem to be moving right along. We've moved into NEPA at this time, which is the next step. There's 3 steps, kind of the proposal. NEPA, which is the National Environmental Protection Act. Once we satisfy that at a federal level, we would be moved into the next phase, which would be eligible for our loan. So at this time, we've been working with them. Alan's been working with them. Numerous people have been touching this. I would just ask that we would entertain this MOU, and I'm going to hand it off to Alan to explain the time frame on this MOU because he knows more about the environmental situation.
There's 2 things to consider on this. One is these are the properties that are part of the Trail Creek cleanup. Although the Trail Creek cleanup is on the other side of 8th Street, it clearly impacts because that contaminants has leached into that area as well. But the development area is right there actually on Trail Creek. Where our commitment is we continue to go through with cleaning that up and getting IDEM to close that, that is an IDEM site, which will address, I think, agenda item number 15 and 17. But we've now completed everything we need to do, at least as required by IDEM and as recommended by our experts, for cleaning up that entire contaminated site. The trench interceptor being the final task. Now we need to sit and wait and do 2 different tests. One shortly coming up, the other one will be in February of 2025. Once that second test is done, assuming it has the results that we're anticipating it will, then August Mac will write a closure plan to IDEM sometime in February or March of next year. IDEM then has 90 to 180 days to respond and agree with the recommendations and hopefully close out that site, in which at that point then the property itself would be eligible to be on the market. So what we are committing here is that we will finish through with the cleanup. And then the second thing is basically telling Helix 33 that we will not do anything with this property where we're committing it to them for ultimate conveyance between now and June of 2026. Why we need to do this now from Helix's perspective, and for us, we're still going to do all these things anyway. We're about 95% done with the Trail Creek cleanup, so we just need to see that through to its finish. But why Helix needs this is because it assists them in terms of making their funding applications. They can now show people, they can now show funding sources. Look, Michigan City has committed this property to us for this development. So that's why we're doing this. And basically what we're agreeing to, as long as they continue to do their due diligence for funding sources, we continue to do our responsibility for environmental cleanup. Hopefully then we have a happy marriage and a development occurring beginning sometime in the summer of 2026. If everybody does their job right.
Yes, so it's at this time, the MOU is important because they're moving through the NEPA process, which there's questions. It's basically a checklist of questions, and one of the questions is, do you have site control over the land? Is there a formal site control? This gives them the formal site control. Once they move through this process, I would have Helix 33 come back, probably around the time once we get through NEPA. Because that may change some of the designs, because the NEPA also takes into consideration historic values around what's historic, what is the design, how does that design fit into this, because it is next to the Elston Historic District. Those are the things we went through with the train station as well, with respect to shade, how does it fit into that neighborhood, things like that. So that design changed, and the NEPA kind of dictated some of those changes with respect to being respectful of what's surrounding it. So at a time when we get through NEPA, I would have Helix kind of come back to us with kind of a final design or a proposal for the design that we would see there at this location. What is being proposed there are apartments, basically similar to what the Richmond group was going to do. And then these would be basically like a workforce type of apartment situation. So it would not be it would be something different than market rate. We haven't defined exactly what that AMI is, but it would not be, it would be workforce housing, affordable, attainable housing, however you want to define that.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion for the MOU for the 8th Street, Michigan Boulevard.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the MOU for the 8th Street property for Helix 33 Group.
Thank you. We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the MOU with the Helix Group for 8th Street and Michigan Boulevard. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have a facade grant expansion area discussion.
Sorry. I provided you some documents with updated facade grants, or an expansion of the area. This takes the area all the way down to basically DeWolf. I didn't go all the way to Cool Springs because there's actually a lot of housing in between DeWolf and Cool Spring. I'll leave that up to you. If you want me to go all the way down, I will. But I thought this made logical sense from the standpoint of where does it transition into more walkable downtown, smaller blocks. We have sidewalks there that continue. We have a few businesses down there. But anyways, this is an expansion. And then the other piece of the expansion, so basically coming straight down Franklin Street all the way to DeWolf. And then the other piece of it is going from Franklin to Wabash, from Barker, on Barker. So taking it, we already go to Barker at this point in time, but just taking it down, there actually is a little business corridor in there between Wabash and Franklin. And it actually is zoned B1 commercial. So there are some businesses that are identified zoning wise as potentials for, if they don't have a business in them now, they could have a business in them in the future. So it just made logical sense to do that. If there are other suggestions, I'll entertain it, or I'll do whatever you guys ask me to do, obviously. But if you want me to adjust the map and go on down to Cool Spring, I can. Or if it makes sense to stop at DeWolf, I just stopped there for logical reasons. But anyways, that's the discussion. I've been approached by some businesses down there who would really like the opportunity to get some facade help down there. So hence why I'm trying to do this. It's more than just one. I've been approached by about probably, I think I've had 4 requests in this general area. And so I'm just trying to see if we can help them out a little bit with their facades. We have some rezonings going on down there to make their business a little bit more feasible. So I don't know, things are happening in that general vicinity, kind of south of the tracks now.
Great. I have a question about the west side, though.
Absolutely.
The gateway to our city coming in from the west side looks like it needs some facade money. There's a couple businesses along there. Is there any opportunity for that?
So we don't have the TIF out there.
Okay.
Hence that map you see right there follows the lines of the TIF.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
We would need to expand
The TIF,
essentially the TIF over there.
or find another funding source other than the redevelopment commission.
Well, I don't want to exit out because I agree with you. I agree with you. We could use some help, so we should think about that. In hindsight, maybe we should have done the expansion over there as well, kind of catch our corridors, if you will. But yeah, we can think about that. Right now, the TIF doesn't go over there, but we could do that, and we could think about that in the future.
Well, I think the facade for Franklin Street's a great idea. There's some small businesses there.
There really are some small businesses, and like I said, if it was just one person, I would, it's been numerous folks asking, and they're businesses that really could use a facade grant. I won't call them out, but it could be really useful to them.
Any other comments or questions, discussion?
I would just say that it seems to be that we've got several businesses that have taken the opportunity to utilize this program. Through my time frame here, I've had several. I mean, just today we had we had some. So great program. I would support. First of all, I support this, but I also would like to see it expanded. So
Where
to Cool Springs,
okay,
start. Yeah.
All the way to both sides of Cool Springs, if we got on Franklin Street, both sides, or just down to Cool Spring, or do you have a preference? Just curious.
I really don't have a preference. I mean, if there was a way to open this up to the entire city, I would take
absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah.
If I can get it, I mean, it's just a matter of redrawing the map. It's really your decisions tonight that you tell me what to do. Go ahead.
If we bring it down to Cool Spring, can we kind of go a block or two each way?
So we need to stay inside our TIF, and
okay.
That again, I kept everything inside our TIF. That's kind of
I was just thinking of a
boundary
that's right there.
Yeah.
But I think in our TIF we've caught everything that abuts Franklin Street all the way down. There might be some anomaly there where we caught something in the back of something, but we pretty much just followed the backbone of Franklin down when we connected the TIFs last year to do our train station. Remember, we connected, so we do have the ability to go all the way down. I would say that like down south, I don't know exactly if we have a lot of businesses take advantage. It's just different down there. I mean, it feels different. It just does. It's more auto oriented. That's kind of why I stopped here, and that the facades made sense here, because you got the historic kind of old school businesses that are right there on the road and stuff. It just made sense. But I like getting down to Cool Spring if that's actually the facade grant guy. He asked me if we could go down to Cool Springs. So I'm pointing at it. And Kyle out there, he asked that question after I had done the map.
Draw the map, Kyle.
Yeah. I would be yeah, we could go down to Cool Springs if that's okay with y'all.
Yeah.
Would you want to approve it tonight pending getting that done, or do you want to see it come back to you guys?
Yeah, I would propose approving this pending it being completed as we discussed.
Okay.
I'll take that. That's a motion.
And I'll second that.
Okay, that's perfect. We have a motion on the floor and a second to accept the North End facade program expansion and have this map amended to reflect the discussion of everything up to Cool Spring. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you all for that consideration. Like I said, it was a few people who've been asking down there, and
Yeah, it's a great program. Next, we have You Are Beautiful.
yes. The Your Beautiful. I guess tonight I don't have a proposal from. Well, I was supposed to have a proposal in front of me. They kind of got. I think they misunderstood what I was telling them, so I called them today. I do not have a proposal, but the reality that I think we need to talk about is that the Mayor's Art Commission is the MAC. It has chosen kind of a location, a permanent location for You Are Beautiful. It is on a piece of property that we own, or the Redevelopment Commission owns. It is located on US Highway 12, right in front of the cooling tower. We own a piece of property there. What I think we should take the opportunity to do there is, if we're moving You Are Beautiful there, originally that piece of property was going to be used as almost like I'll call it like a rest area for our trail, which we don't really have through here. We should maybe make some, not just flop You Are Beautiful there, but really make some upgrades there. It's a gravel lot right now, so it probably needs some dirt brought in. It probably needs, a berm that the thing would be set on again. It's meant to be set up on a berm. It's the way it's designed. But I just want to kind of put that in the back of the Redevelopment Commission's head, that the reality is that we got to move You Are Beautiful in the very near future. And that the proposal from the Art Council is that Art Commission is that it would go to this location, which is directly across from Pullman Field, so you can still view it from a distance. It's meant to be viewed from a distance rather than up close. I know people like to get on it and get pictures, but it's really meant to be viewed from a distance, just given the size of it. I think this is a good location. And then the proposal that I'm seeking from Smith Group, who specializes in plazas and really creating these unique spaces, is to help us relocate it, but help us also define what else goes there. If it's also a rest facility, does it need a toilet facility? Does it need a water fountain? Does it need a bike repair stand? Does it need these things? And really utilizing it as not just the You Are Beautiful space, but really making it a space where you want to come and hang out. If you're on a bike, could you stop there and have a lunch or something like that? So that's kind of something that we're thinking about. I've talked to Mary Angie about it, and she's in favor of this. I know the Art Commission's in favor of this, but mainly, so that's kind of the idea of it right now. And I've talked to Smith Group today, and Matt Dimich is the man that I'm talking with there. He's going to try to put together a proposal. He apologizes and said that he just didn't have he crossed wires with my communication to him. But anyways, that's kind of the idea in a nutshell, that we know it needs to be moved. Let's find a permanent location where it can stay indefinitely and make it the best use of that location that we can. And I think it's a good use, because right now the Redevelopment Commission's taking care of that lot, and it's just a gravel lot. It's hard to mow. We're basically weed whipping it, and it takes so much time. I'd love to get that off of our rolls. And though it may not be going for a redevelopment of a building or something to that effect, I think it serves a greater purpose in being redefined as not just a gravel space, but as a piece of art, but also a functional kind of space for
Green
art.
space, yeah. So we are going to wait for the proposal, I presume.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I just kind of want to put that in your head that
Yeah.
the reality is we got to move it. So.
Okay, got it.
I think we also, if I remember right, from having done that agreement with the artist, I don't think we need his approval, but we need to give him notice.
We have to give him notice, and I thought that we actually don't own the art. It's owned by the city. It's in the care of the MAC. But I think we do have to give him notice. The good thing is that the guy that I'm working with, the Smith Group, actually knows him. So he's going to try to work with him to make sure that it's placed correctly.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about doing all the other enhancements, I mean, we're knocking off two things there. One, the very same thing you just said about the entryway from the
Yeah,
west side.
absolutely.
But then the other thing in terms of being able to convey that to the artist, that we're not just moving it to plopping it to a new location, but in fact, it's the centerpiece for development within that location.
Yes, yeah, and Matt Dumich is committed that he would reach out to him in this process to make, because there is a certain way that an artist likes to have their exhibit look or seen, just to make sure that we're not ruining it for him. So
To make it part of the whole trail system, I think is
absolutely, I
really
think it'd be really cool.
exceptional. All right, let's move on then to number 15 on our agenda, the August MAC change order for Trail Creek cleanup project. Alan?
This is, as you may recall, and I think part of this stems over from the last commission as well, but we had to go through for the trench interceptor, and part of our original budget included the trench interceptor for this year within the budget, and we did a request for proposals, and we met with various contractors, and we came up with zilch on the first offer. So then we tweaked the request for proposal to hopefully be more inclusive. August Mac also reached out to several contractors, both in Indianapolis and in this area, working with them, trying to get them to bid on the project, and again, came up empty. Through their contacts, though, we did find HRP Construction. HRP Construction worked diligently with August Mac and vice versa for the idea of the technical aspects for the trench interceptor, as well as meeting all the IDEM safety requirements, both for their workers and for the site. So that was part of the reason for the change orders. We had to do more original work, or they had to do more original work on the upfront. Then I think we got about 3 days into the project and realized that the sewage line down there, the main on that, had collapsed. So then there had to become a new redesign away from that, around that, to allow us to put the trench interceptor in there. So that's the basis for both of those were unforeseen circumstances. And that's why there needs to be $92,000 added to the August MAC budget that we approved last year. One last thing about the trench interceptor, for everybody to know this. It works. It works. I think the trench interceptor was finally installed on a Tuesday. 3 days later, we had the torrential downpour for hours on end, which prior to the trench interceptor would have resulted in extreme flooding, both on groundwater and then also into 8th Street, of contaminated liquids. Skylar went down there first. I also went down there 2 days later. Nothing. It was dry. It never happened. And that's exactly what we were trying to do. We got rid of the contaminant. It was a health scare. It was a health hazard.
Yeah.
Anybody who ever came into that would be sick. And no question about it. There are parts of this that were among the most contaminated sites in the entire state of Indiana, from what August Mac's experience is. And we have now, at least as we sit here today, and hopefully it continues, but as we sit here today, that contaminated site has been removed. So
it's also allowing us, it's what is ultimately allowing us to develop across the street,
Right.
ultimately, because it was daylighting there, running across literally as water. So it's opened up some opportunities for us there.
it was the whole idea, what you just approved on the MOU for the Helix Corporation, it's all a result of
Yes,
because of this.
right.
So this has been a good project and a successful project, a little more expensive than we wanted it to be, but we're there.
Well, doing it right sometimes costs, so.
Yes.
But, okay, a success. So I would entertain a motion to approve the change order as presented for $92,000. You guys are really good at this, by the way.
Get a hand signal. I'd like to motion to approve the change order from August Mac for an additional $92,000 for the environmental services and oversight of the Trail Creek cleanup project.
I'll second that motion.
Great. Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Trail Creek cleanup change order has been approved. Next on the agenda, we have an update, I believe.
Yeah.
On the 11th Street station garage and skyscraper.
Everything's going as planned. They're really starting to move right along. Now that they've kind of got the, I guess, superstructure up, they're coming right along with the other pieces of the garage. I feel like it grows daily. And then they've started the platform or the foundation for the second crane that will be coming in on the residential tower, which is the closest lot closest to Franklin Street. That's actually you're seeing going up there is the elevator shaft and stairwell shaft. And then the other secondary piece you're seeing going up there is actually the platform that the crane will be attached to. So you'll see that come in the next probably few days at this point in time because it's moving very quickly. And you'll see, I think it's a 200-foot crane there. So it's moving right along. What else? They will be starting infrastructure work on 10th and Franklin in the very near future because there's some new water mains that have to come in there to make room for the capacity needs. So Franklin Street at some point in time will go down to 1 lane north from 11th Street to probably 10th or 9th. With the anticipation of a new water main coming in there. We knew this was happening with this project. We've just been kind of holding off until they get the majority of the large pieces of concrete moved into place. So so that's an update right now. I don't have any other updates. No issues. No anything for us to approve. Everything's moving very smoothly.
On behalf of the public, could you tell a little bit about facade that has been kept in storage? I know that there's a lot of curiosity about that.
No, thank you for reminding me. I know we spoke about that. So just for the public's knowledge, we will put the historic facade back on this station. It will go, you will actually walk in. So what's happening is the station is the historic facade is going to be put at platform level, and you will walk in the old doors. Well, not the old doors, but new doors into the old entrance of the historic facade and go into the station through those doors. It's a very unique project and a very unique opportunity that we were afforded to salvage and basically clean and restore the historic facade. I assure you, we have all the pieces. They took it down like a puzzle, mapped it all out, and they will be putting the puzzle back in place on the new building. It's going to be pretty interesting to see that go up, and it's really going to create a building that's unique that other cities are going to be very jealous of what we have. It's going to be really cool to see that go back on this building. And what else? It's been restored. Like I said, it's going to be beautiful. You may remember it had a lot of paint on it, but all that's been stripped off. It's shiny. It's going to be really amazing to see it on there.
Thank you. A lot of curiosity out there about that. Next on our agenda, do we need to talk any more about the interceptor trench? You're all set? Okay. It's a success. Moving on, South TIF Connectivity Improvement Project. Any updates?
At this time, I don't have any updates. I know that we were waiting on final conveyance of land. We have that now. So I have talked back at Haas, Ryan Laughlin at Haas, and we're talking about now that we know that we have control of the land, we are discussing reaching back out to the various organizations or the various businesses, Myers, Lowe's, Menards, and making sure that they're aware of what improvements we have proposed in this area, and then basically bringing a project to the Redevelopment Commission with respect to, now that we have the Larkspur Lane sidewalks that connect across, where do you go now on Town Center Drive? So really bringing a project to you guys to put in maybe some more sidewalks, some bus stops, things of that nature, and making an improvement, but also making sure that the businesses, now that they've given us control of the road, understand the improvements that we are going to be making. So that's the next step.
And part of that process is including they're asking those businesses for easements
Yeah.
or some kind of cutout so that we can put a bus shelter in there, so we can do
Yeah.
some kind of enhancement, and that's the next part.
All right, thank you. We spoke about the You Are Beautiful Sola site. Do we need any?
No, the only other update I give is that I am in the process this week. We will be meeting with them to look at their financial proposal of fundings, things of that nature tomorrow morning, actually, and hopefully moving forward with a project in the very near future. We have been reviewing. They have been moving forward with site development and site designs, working with engineers and surveyors. Our city engineer has been working very closely with them to make sure we get Rotary Way. Once that gets developed, we want to make sure we have good alignment of streets and that we're not doing strange jogs with intersections, things of that nature. We really want our north end to be walker friendly or walkable, and make sure those alignments fit. Washington Street would be realigned, and just making sure that we're getting rid of any weird things out there that we're really putting those back to where they need to be and making sure the alignment's good. I know Tim Warner, our city engineer, is really big on making sure that the streets align properly. So I think that's his years in dot. So that's kind of what's going on right now.
All right, thank you for that. A report by our legal counsel. Anything to report?
The only other thing, in addition to everything else I've reported on, is that there was an executive session before this meeting. No items were discussed that were not permitted by the open door law, and no decisions were made, and that's it.
Thank you. Our director, are there any additional things?
No, I just really thank you guys for considering the facade expansion. I think it's a really, and I agree with Mr. Gertner, it really is a successful program in Michigan City. Hopefully we'll see some facades coming down. You may recall the last expansion we did was down Michigan Boulevard. We've been contacted, but to date we have yet to see one turned in for Michigan Boulevard. So hopefully we'll get some on Michigan Boulevard in the near future.
Thank you. At this time, are there any members of the public who wish to speak? Please come up to the mic and introduce yourself.
My name is Donna Knoll, and I'll apologize in advance because I'm not a public speaker.
That's okay.
25 years ago, the Economic Development Commission gave St. Paul Lutheran Church a grant for a community playground. Unfortunately, we've sold the school building and the playground is going to be taken away. We still have community children that play on that playground every single day. And we think there aren't any other playgrounds that I can think of in that area, the Elston district, the Central School, Old Central School. I asked Mayor Angie, and she gave me Unity and Healthcare Foundation, and they have already said we don't qualify for those. So we were wondering if we could qualify again for another economic development grant that we got and put a new playground on our grassy area since we don't own the other part anymore.
Would it be open to the public or?
It's always been open to the public. That was the agreement with before from Blue Chip, that it would always be made open to the public. And in those 25 years, if we had any vandalism or parts broke, the church paid for it. We never came back for any help for any of that. Every 3 or 4 years, we put new,
I know, used tires, absolutely.
And,
Mulch, tire mulch.
exactly. And we have never, ever closed it to anyone in the community. The adults used to play basketball when the basketball hoop was up, but then we had to take that down. But even last Saturday night, I came out of church and there were kids playing. There's daycare somewhere in our area that always has 6 to 10 kids on it. And we just want to be part of the community. We want to be a good member of the community. We just can't afford a really big playground right now.
So the existing playground equipment will be trashed and you want new playground equipment? I'm a little confused.
They, yes,
Okay.
it's already cemented,
Oh, I see.
drilled in and
Got it.
cemented into the ground, and we don't own it, so we talked about taking it up, but it would make it too short for standards.
Okay.
Am I right, Kyle? Okay, he goes to our church as well.
Oh. So if my memory serves me, I believe you got St. Paul's got a grant from the Michigan City Enrichment Corporation. Does that ring a bell? Because that's the blue chip money that you're referencing.
Okay, so I'm in the wrong place.
No, I mean, we're just talking through it. We're just talking through it.
Yeah.
We're just trying to, make sure that we give you some good.
None of us in our church are grant writers.
Yes.
And, even coming down here for me was a big step. I watch
You're doing great.
So I don't know if you can lead me somewhere, or you can tell me how to apply, or if it's even feasible to put,
Let me chat with Kyle and let's maybe take it offline for a discussion, and then we will one way or the other. If you know Kyle, I'll make sure Kyle gets back in touch with you, one way or the other.
We'll figure something.
Yeah, let's
We'll noodle about this.
Yeah, because I know that at one point in time they had offered to take up the playground equipment, but the reality is, okay, is this playground equipment, is it out of date? Does it meet ADA standards?
Yeah.
It's all these. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Everything has changed.
So let us think about that a little bit. But so you'd be willing to put it on the piece of land just kind of north of your of the church.
grassy area that's there now.
Okay, where the fence is and things like that.
But it would always be open to the public, and we even think that it would be good for our new neighbor in the school building.
Would you? Well, just curiosity. Well, yeah. Let us noodle about it.
I'm sorry.
Let us think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll get back with Kyle. Kyle, you know how to get in touch with us? Okay.
I know where he is every Sunday morning.
Oh yeah, he better be.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing this to us. We appreciate it. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak at this time? Kyle, you sure you don't want to defend yourself over there?
Hello, Board. Scott Melantur, Kenwood Place. About the 8th Street Interceptor, additional $92,000, is that still covered by the insurance settlement we got?
Now, we're,
I mean, it sounds like a successful and needed project, and I know we got insurance money. I was just hoping we could say it was covered by insurance.
we've gone through, the total cost of that entire project was roughly 2.5 million. We have gotten, well, more than that actually, but we have gotten, I'm sorry, less than that actually. We have gotten back 1.5, almost 1.6 million. So there currently is 1.1 million over that. That at this point is the commission is paid. However, we also continue to have one more defendant as part of our litigation, and we have a default, an undefined default judgment. We had a PROSEP. We still have a PROSEP hearing scheduled for the early part of August, I believe, but that has served its purpose from the viewpoint that it has forced that insurance company to provide us with the insurance coverage that they have. Of course, they said it isn't covered, but we'll get into that. So I think where we are at this point is that we will we will continue the August hearing date, sit down with them in terms of trying to come up with some kind of settlement close to $1.2 million and see what their insurance coverage is. That's the point, though, is if that happens, and really directly answering your question is, if we can get whatever we can get to that, we'll go towards what the overage has been. But regardless, I mean, we have a $2.6 million project that we've paid at this point 1.5 million, and it's working. So,
and it needed to be done.
And
right.
The Helix land then on 8th is on the Trail Creek side of 8th Street,
right,
which gets sprung forward by this
by
this cleanup. Last thing, the workforce development thing that Mayor Angie spoke about in our workforce development director. It sounds like a great idea, of course, to get all these groups under one roof. And that'd be a good location for it since it does have other essential services there.
Right.
My question or my concern for these type of things, one, we're only a city of 32,000. I went to high school in a place called Mundelein, Illinois, which is 32,000 people. It's a village in Lake County. And I don't think they have a government nearly the size of us trying to do the number of things we're trying to do with a population of 32,000, one. And two, with the workforce development and the food insecurity and all the things they were speaking of, what are our metrics for success? Especially when I heard the number $20 million. That's a huge number.
Mhm.
So, what I wrote down is what's the budget and where's it from? As the mayor said, they would like that to be self-funded eventually. Maybe we have to give it a kickstart to get the ball rolling. That's good, but what will the metrics of success be? I think that's an important question for any municipal outlay of this type. But overall, it sounds like a good idea, but again, how effective will it be and what would the metrics for that be?
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Those are really good points. Are there any members of the commission who would like to make any comments? Let me close public comment. Is there anyone online that wants public comment? No? Anyone else in the public who wishes to speak? All right, public comment is closed. Moving on, any commissioner comments? All right. Our next meeting will be August 12th, same place, and I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
You guys are great. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone.